Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TV Skyen, and at the end of every single one of my videos, I ask you guys to go down into the comments and tell me what kinds of things you would like me to talk about, what kind of videos you'd like me to make. And one of the things that comes up again and again and again and again, because I tend to talk about, character design, and I tend to criticize Riot's character design a lot, is, well, who's a good character design? Who has the best character design in League of Legends? Do a positive video, talk about something good. And I kind of resisted doing that because there is no such thing as a perfect character design. There's always flaws, there's always stuff to criticize, and I can't, it always felt a little bit to me like people wanted me to find something that was wholly positive and talk about that, and that to me was not really interesting. But you've requested it a lot. So today I'm going to tell you exactly who has the best character design in League of Legends. Now, it took me quite a while. I went through the champion list, I looked at a lot of champions, I sort of tried to consider them from all kinds of different angles as to find out who's really who's the best execution on their concept, who has the best integration with their lore, who's the most interesting concept, just like from a high concept perspective. And after a lot of thinking about it, I think I've reached my answer. Yep, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Rammus, in my opinion, is probably the best character design in League of Legends. Yeah, I'm gonna get into exactly why that is. So let's talk a little bit about Rammus and what makes him good. Now, when I say Rammus is the best character design in League of Legends, what I don't mean is that he's the best character. And I don't mean that he has the best lore. And I don't mean he has the coolest splash art. And I don't mean he has the most elaborate or rich design. I mean that his character design is the one in League of Legends that most cleanly, most perfectly, with the fewest flaws, executes on his concept and integrates with his lore. So let's talk about Rammus as a character, let's talk about his concept, let's talk about his design. Because Rammus is, well, without putting too fine of a point on it, he's a joke. He's a joke character. He's a meme. He's a meme within the League of Legends community. He's a meme within Riot itself. He's a meme to all of us because he is so weird. Okay. That's literally, okay, that's his catchphrase, where he has really no personality. He has really no story, no concept to him. And Riot for quite a long time were stumped for I think anyway, that they were stumped for exactly what the hell they wanted to do with him. But then they gave him a lore update. And they kind of updated his character model a little bit, gave it some new textures, made it look nice, but they kept the design pretty much as it is. And with the lore update, Rammus has become the single best execution in all of League of Legends of a character design. Now again, this doesn't mean he's the best character. This doesn't mean he has the best lore. It doesn't mean he's the most interesting guy. It doesn't mean he has the coolest character design. It just means that as an execution on a concept, Rammus is the cleanest possible version of that. Rammus's biography, which again, I also think is one of the best biographies in League of Legends lore at all, essentially lays out that Rammus is a joke. He's a meme. He's this enigmatic creature that nobody knows what the hell his deal is. Nobody knows what he's about, why he exists, what does he signify, what's his personality, what does he want, where did he come from? No one knows. Everybody has their own theories. Everybody has their own ideas. Everybody has their own concept of who Rammus is and what he's supposed to do and why is he there and what is he all about. And in this, Riot has created a metafiction where the in-universe reaction of the Shuriman's, who all have their different theories about whether he's a herald of doom, or he's a benevolent hero, or he's a path to wisdom, or there are cults developed to just rolling around like Rammus in worship of his of his divine behavior. All of these people have their own ridiculous ideas of what the hell Rammus is, but nobody knows a damn thing. And in that sense, the Shuriman's looking at Rammus are exactly like us looking at Rammus. He's a blank slate. He's a nothing. He has no personality. He has only whatever personality we choose to project onto him. Because there's nothing to him. so we can put anything on him. And that just kind of blows my mind from a lore perspective to say, okay, we have this character, we don't know what the hell to do with them, so let's just make them exactly reflect the fact that we don't know what to do with him. That is just mind-blowingly clever for me. And this, I recognize completely that this is something that may only really be super funny and clever to me, just because that's the kind of person that I am, but nonetheless, that's what makes him great to me. And his design reflects this. Like, he doesn't really have a face to speak of. He has some eyes that glow on a mouth. He has some claws and some spikes on his shell because he reflects damage, and that's kind of his thing, and he rolls around. Everything about his design is entirely functional. He just looks like some creature with a spiked shell that rolls around in, like, a desert thing or something. Like, it's exactly what it says on the box, right? There's nothing to him. There's no implications of a deeper lore. There's no implications of anything greater going on with him. He's just there. He just exists. And that's why, to me, Rammus is the best character design in League of Legends. Like, from a holistic perspective, just as looking at him from the perspective of what is the best possible execution on a concept, that honor has to go to Rammus. He is the best version of what this character could possibly be, and you can't really ask for any more than that. And what's even more clever about, because his very concept is a lampshade hanging on his own concept, you can't really criticize him, because any criticism you make of him automatically becomes part of the concept. Like, it's postmodernist, essentially. And yes, I am reading way too much into this. I'm taking this way too seriously, but that's what you come to my channel for. So what I would recommend to you all, and there's going to be links to this down in the description, go and read his biography, because it's really just clever. It's really good. Go and read his short story, which is just fucking brilliant as an execution on the same idea, and begin to appreciate why Rammus might be perhaps the best character that the League of Legends crew have ever designed. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be a little bit disappointed with this answer. You think I'm joking, or that I'm not taking it seriously. Well, I'm not. I'm not joking. I'm being completely serious about this. This is not a meme. I'm completely serious. This is my analysis, and I stand by it. But let's talk about some other perspectives from which you can talk about a good character design. Because, for instance, I think Ornn has the best lore in League of Legends. I think as a concept, as an execution on lore, as a forge god, and as a deity in League of Legends who has folk tales and legends that revolve around him and which are fashioned after the patterns of Norse mythology, my mythology, the mythology that I grew up with, Ornn has incredibly compelling lore. Like, it really, for me, it really, really works. He reflects a lot of the archetypes I remember from, the folktales and the mythology that I grew up with, and the ways in which that mythology unfolds over the course of the stories that I heard. Now, his character design visually is kind of I think you could do more stuff with it. He's kind of dour and boring and kind of uninteresting, because that's kind of part of his character, that he's the forge god. He's not really flashy. He doesn't really want to show off or anything. He's just kind of got an apron on because I'm a blacksmith, and I've got a hammer and some stuff, and I've got a big beard because I'm a goat, and so it's very basic. So the character design isn't that interesting on its own, but the lore is just mwah. It's really well executed. Like, from a lore perspective, I think Ornn is probably the best character in League of Legends. Now, from a character design perspective, without giving thought to, all the other aspects, I think as a character design, as a concept for as a character, Kindred is the best one. In the sense that when it comes to embodying death, multiple cultures across the entire world have many different concepts for how that is supposed to happen. We have La Muerta in the South American areas. We have, the Grim Reaper in the West, and we have characters like Hela, who's the Norse god of death, and every mythology sort of has their own version of the god of death, and what does death look like. So, embodying death as a pair of hunters and thus conceptualizing the idea of life as an eternal chase, like with death always running close behind you, and one day they'll catch up to you and hunt you like prey. That is a really interesting concept, and it's executed in a very interesting way, like this yin-yang duality, but expressed instead through a metaphor of wolves and lambs, and this black and white thing. Like, that's from a visual standpoint, that's really, really strong, and I like that a lot. And I think probably Kindred are the strongest character design from that perspective, just as a piece of design. Unfortunately, in terms of the lore, it's like it's underexplored. I don't really think there's nearly enough to go at. Like, their short story is only 2 minutes long, and when you want to explore something as basic as the concept of death, like, which is so fundamental to all cultures everywhere have an opinion of death, and death is reflected in every aspect of every culture on Earth. That's where I feel like Kindred kind of falls flat from the lore perspective, because they're not really integrated in the rest of League of Legends lore. Like, I've looked at a lot of League of Legends concept art, and there aren't really signs of Kindred around. And you would imagine, since that they are canonically the embodiment of death on Runeterra, there would be more going on, like that people would have symbols of Kindred, like that they hang next to their door as a symbol to ward off death, or that, you know, at funerals or something, that the symbols of Kindred would be around, or like that there would be something going on in the various cultures of League of Legends that reflected the fact that this is what death looks like. Death is such a fundamental conceptual force to life that, I mean, it's also because it's massively ambitious to do an embodiment of death when you want to have a cohesive universe that's built around it. That's also the issue, but that's where I feel like Kindred falls flat, is that because their design is so unique and so singular, but they represent a basic force of the universe, then their design needs to be reflected somewhere in the rest of the game's aesthetic, and it's not. They're not. That's the issue with Kindred. But anyway, you have asked me a lot, and I've given you an answer. The best, holistically speaking, the best character design in League of Legends is Rammus the Armadillo. My name has been TBSky, and you should feel very free to leave comments down below. Or, if you want to make me really happy, just go into the comments and write, okay. Thank you very much for watching.